It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Welcome to Dart Talk.
How's it going?
I'm fried.
Yeah?
I'm fried.
Been here a while.
Fried.
Did you watch some darts this morning?
I've probably watched, 16 hours of darts in the last 2 days with an extra twist.
What's the twist?
I will tell you about that.
All right. I can't wait to hear that one.
Steve Penonselman and Mystery Mark, brought to you by thedartzone.com.
Stay in the zone.
Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, thanks Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. And my apologies in advance. I do have I caught like some sort of a cold, so I'm sneezing and stuff. So Lord knows, we'll try to get through it.
We can only hope.
Well, yeah. So here's the deal. Like, our show has pretty much always been about covering darts as a sport.
Right.
So I'm sitting there watching the darts yesterday, and I'm like, I wonder, can you cover darts as a sport using Twitter? Because I had been watching, I'll tell you why I did this, because I think some people had really thought I lost my mind, because I sent out hundreds of tweets in the last 2 days. So I'm watching like this old baseball documentary series by Ken Burns.
All right.
It's like he does 10 years. It takes like 2 hours without even commercials. It's on like Major League Baseball Network. They're rerunning it. So I'm watching this stuff, and I've got it on DVR, and I'm like watching Babe Ruth swing over and over again, like frame by frame, trying to see, kind of what he did and what would still work. Yeah, pretty good swing for, guy that never saw, videotape. Right. Natural. And they started talking about when they first started to do baseball on the radio. What they did was they had a reporter on the phone, and he was calling it into an actual radio station that was somewhere else, and then they were just repeating what he said on the radio.
Really?
That was the first baseball game they ever covered.
Yeah.
I love listening to baseball on the radio.
So do
I
I.
just think it's awesome. I've done it my whole life. Hockey's cool, football's all right, but baseball's like perfect for radio. And so I'm like, that's basically what Twitter is. Twitter is somebody saying something that's getting repeated to a bunch of people. And I'm like, I wonder if you could do this with the darts. So I'm kind of like, well.
So you gave it a shot.
I gave it a shot. I'm not a real Twitter guy. I don't really understand it. And I was kind of learning a little bit as I went along. But we picked up a bunch of followers who could not watch the darts live and were following the matches through my tweets. So I would send something out like every leg.
Yeah.
So-and-so held, so-and-so missed his double, so-and-so scoring, so-and-so looks this, looks that, whatever impressions, I could glean as I'm watching and typing at the same time.
Okay.
And I literally did it today for all 6 matches. And by the time I was done, I wanted to crawl under the desk and fall asleep. I was just so wiped. Thanks, by the way, everybody, for the compliments, and we'll try to keep doing it tomorrow. It was rough getting in here early.
Yeah.
Because it started at 6:30
Right.
Chicago time. It's like, that's pretty early for me to be typing.
Well, yeah.
Just saying.
It's pretty early for anything.
Right. So, but very, very compelling matches. Our condolences to you.
Yes.
Justin Pipe failed to make the semis.
I know.
Failed to make the top 8. Failed to make the top 16. And fell in...
You can't be right all the time.
Well, no. And I'll tell you, the thing that really I was marveling about by the end of today. Today was the end of the top 16 matches, and pretty much starting at top 32, there wasn't a weak stick in the bunker.
Right.
I mean, everybody that played was playing at a pretty high level for themselves. You have to excuse me a second. Say something.
All right.
everybody was playing a pretty high level. Not
Yes.
everybody can reach the same heights that the top players can, which is why it's so hard to be a top player. But you saw guys, digging in with their backs to the wall. I was so impressed with John Bowles. We talked about him last week,
right?
Well, our last show, which was 10 days ago.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take this will be just a really quick break.
You should play the disclaimer anyway.
Let's do the disclaimer, and then we'll do a break, and we'll be right back.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect the thoughts or opinions of the hosts, our sponsors, any official Dart sanctioning organization, and post hoc ergo propter hoc, any and all spelunkers, debunkers, raconteurs, roustabouts, technocrats, hepcats, cat ladies, Lady Gaga, the Four Seasons, the Three Stooges, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, hipsters, kibitzers, hellions, the fickle finger of fate, or Tom Waits.
Okay, we'll be right back. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve. Thank you. Okay, and we're back, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Okay, I thought iTunes was broken, and I realized
I was wondering
what
was going on. You couldn't hear anything.
Okay, this cold is going to...
It's going to be the death of you.
One more thing to deal with. Okay. Anyway, thanks,
John
everybody.
Bowles.
We're back. Yeah, John Bowles.
That's what we were discussing.
Well, we talked about him last show, and he eventually had 3 times he had one dart at tops to knock out Gary Anderson.
Okay.
Who had, by the end of the match, threw 19 ton 80s.
Wow.
And missed it all 3
Bowles
times.
did or Anderson did?
Anderson did.
Okay.
Anderson is fighting off a guy playing the best darts of his life, playing very, very solid with I would have to say, a relatively complete game. And there's Gary Anderson. When the chips are down, here's another ton 80.
Yeah.
How'd that feel? Here's another one. And eventually Anderson won it. And I felt, and then, I mean, not that this guy got nominated for Jackwagon, which we will get to, but somebody posted something about how, ton 80s were more important than doubles, which I thought was...
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you got. I get it. You have to get to the double, but you can't win if you don't hit the double.
I'm pretty sure I read that in 501, 101.
Yes.
Right? So anyway, I don't know. But Bowles, I thought I was really impressed with his game, and I'm very curious to see how much he moves up in the next 12 months.
Okay.
Right? He's got some.
I think this will vault him into.
Well, he's gonna have
a lot
money.
of confidence or more confidence.
I would think that John Bowles came away from that match convinced he could beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that's true. One of the collectively, my impression of the last few days at darts, where I've literally watched every single match, is that the difference between winning and losing, and the difference between being one of the top players and being somebody who's a rung below on the ladder, isn't a whole lot. And is mostly mental. What I've seen happening, because there were a lot of close matches, matches that went down to deciding legs and stuff, and the one thing that I found in common with the guys that did not get through, who played well enough where I wouldn't dare say losers. I mean they're great players who didn't win, was that when push came to shove at the end when the chips were down, they all lost their confidence. And
by missing doubles or
or by the other guy, like the other guy doing something, extraordinary or spectacular. For example, Simon Whitlock played today, and Simon Whitlock was going down. He was playing Dave Chisnell, and they get down to the 5th set, and they get to the point where you have to win by 2 clear legs. Whitlock is under the gun. Whitlock's sitting on 152, and Chizzy's on 170, and Chizzy throws an 80 to leave 90, and Whitlock's sitting there on 152, and it's his throw.
Yeah.
Which means the other guy's going to start the next leg. Trip 20, double 16. Thank you very much.
Right.
Now, I'm throwing for the match instead of you, or no, that was to get it to 3-3 where that was he was looking at defeat and winning this leg extended the match where now you had to win by 2. And when he did that, the other guy completely tightened up. You could see it in his face that he'd lost confidence, and all of a sudden he's throwing 41s, and he's absolute toast.
Right.
I wanted to bring the toaster in.
Oh, nice.
No, we'll have to do that next week. And you see this. I saw this happen.
That's pretty much just about all like top level competitive sports.
Maybe
the best mental makeup basically is overcomes more.
It's not so much the mental makeup. It's like, remember that one like arcade boxing game where you started out playing Glass Joe and you would like
and you work your way up,
seconds and you work your way up. They would have this little power meter where every time you got hit, your meter would go down, and every time you slammed him, your meter would go up. And I swear to God, if you had meters on these dart players, you would see their meters start going down when the other guy starts hitting something, except for guys like John Bowles, because when the other guy steps it up, he steps it up. Adrian Lewis, just like cruising along, throwing mucky-muck darts, and then the other guy hits something, and then he hits something. When he was playing Kevin Painter, at one point, they had back-to-back-to-back ton 80s.
Wow. Right.
He's on a 9-darter. Blows the 12-darter, loses the leg, and literally can't win a leg for another 20 minutes. And Painter gets all the way back in the match. Because, mentally, he's fried. You got a guy like...
Yeah, that definitely happens, though.
You got a guy like Gary Anderson who's like... He's not just missing doubles. He missed a double that was closer to the triple. Now, I don't understand, maybe he's not prepared like he wants to be. And he had a lot of stuff go on this year. He didn't have a great year like he did last year. But he was not Dream Boy. He was, they changed his nickname too. That was probably a bad idea. But
maybe that's his problem.
But you could just see that he, by the middle of the match, had no idea where the dart was going when he aimed for a double. But he's still hitting, ton 40s and ton 80s, and, he's still ripping up the 20. But come down to a double, you look at his face, and it became so amateurish that it was laughable. And I'm sure he's just like...
beside himself?
Oh, if I were him, I would go somewhere that didn't have a dartboard and try to forget the entire match and then stay off of YouTube.
Right.
Because
right.
Well, no, we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that before the Darts Live about how, play well, because if you play badly, it's on there forever.
Yeah.
One of the Chicago guys, I was telling him about this one YouTube video of Richie Burnett starting out a leg with like ton 80, ton 40, ton 40, and after 30 darts, he's still not out.
Oh boy!
And ends up losing because he misses I don't know how many handfuls at double one. It's on there forever. Then he shows me a video of this guy, Tony Fleet, which was playing in like the BDO champion. I'll call it the BDO Championship, or we'll just call it Lakeside. One of those two things.
Okay.
So the BDO Championship some years ago, he's playing Martin Adams and playing Wolfie. And I mean, literally, the guy, I don't know if he's nervous or he's got some other issue, but he literally could not transfer the dart from his left hand to his right hand without dropping it. And he's just 26, 41...
And he had to pick up the dart every time, too?
Well, he's just kind of fumbling it. I mean, I think the first one hit the floor, and after that, he was kind of and maybe he had nerve damage in his hand. I mean, I have no idea. I don't know what the story is, but if you guys...
The fact is, it's on YouTube forever.
Yeah. And, if you're going to continue to be a dart player, I wouldn't want to be named Tony Fleet. I would change my name to Tony Fleetwood or, Tony Armada. Or something anything different. Tony Slow, anything but Tony Fleet. See what I did there with the Fleet thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that.
So let's run down some of the matches in case people
don't know
are
what
not
happened.
caught up. So let's start with what was our last show?
Tuesday is our last show, so Wednesday.
All right, so let's start with Justin Pipe.
My guy
Andy
Justin
Jenkins.
Pipe won 3-0 against Andy Jenkins.
Yeah, it was funny. Andy Jenkins goes back. There's YouTube of Andy Jenkins playing in some youth championship when he's like 16 or something. Big husky lad in like a soccer shirt.
Okay.
And he had nothing. He had no answers for Pipe. Pipe went through him like he wasn't even there. Haruki Murumatsu played pretty good. Dave Harrington.
He won 4-0.
Yeah, Dave Harrington was an older fella from New Zealand, and at one point Eric Bristow was saying, "I'm going to move to New Zealand."
Yeah.
Because it's obvious, I've got a good shot of winning here, which I thought was like,
It's kind of a ding.
Yeah, I'm not sure he made any friends in New Zealand saying that. Ronnie Baxter, Dennis Priestley was a fun match to watch.
Ronnie Baxter won that 3-1.
Yeah, and it was close. Darren and Colin.
Colin Lloyd beat Darren Young 3-2.
Yeah, and I went out after. I got amped up to practice after watching Darren and Colin, and I think I said a few weeks ago what I really wanted to see Darren do was play the kind of darts that he plays against me, and in parts of the match he did. He was ahead. He won the first set, and was sailing along and should have won the second set. Missed one dart at a double or two darts at a double, and all of a sudden Lloyd woke up and started hitting like just raining ton 40s on him. And it went all the way down to it was tied 2-2 in the last set, and in order to get there, Darren's back to the wall, ton 80, ton 40, big out. I mean, so the guy did play well, but then as soon as he would catch up, it'd be almost like, okay, now I have to rest and get pummeled, like a guy on the ropes. Like, punched himself out in the first minute of the round and then has to sit there and take it for a minute.
For the bell.
Or wait to recharge and so he could pound the guy back before the bell. I mean, it was really a back-and-forth battle. And, Colin played well, and Colin played probably the best I've seen him play in years. So I was actually... I don't know. I would say I was proud of Darren, but I don't want to sound like condescending or anything like that. But I was proud of him. I was like, okay, the guy's standing up there, and he's under pressure in front of everybody, and he's hanging tough, and he's showing some class. And I thought, great for Darren. Every year he goes, he seems to play better. But
well, he's getting used to it.
And his average wasn't that bad. It was in the 80s.
I mean, the atmosphere is completely different than what he's used to.
Well, and that's the thing. We have to start playing, different tournament formats. Our players need to start playing, best of 11, 0-1 every single weekend and get used to it. And, it's hard to get used to playing sets because even the Brits don't play sets that often. They do it at the Grand Prix. They do it here, maybe one other tournament, but everything else is match play. Alternate start. How many legs do you need to win, and off you go?
Yeah.
Right, and we need to start doing that. We don't have a field where we can do best of 11 all day long, but we'll get there. So, if we start, best of 9 and then move it up in the top 8, semis and finals and stuff. And if we did that every weekend, whoever qualified to go next year would play better.
Right.
Whoever
Extremely
it was,
better.
because you're not going to get any weak stick coming out there. So I thought I was proud of Darren. I thought Darren showed himself well. Miramatsu played good, and Whitlock killed him.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, and it just goes to show you, it's like, to be a top player, the kind of
why did Miramatsu play twice on the same day?
Because he had that's the qualifier play-in thing.
Okay.
Right? So it's a field of 64, but they have like some extra spots. So the qualifiers play into the 64, and they just play a best of 7, and then then they're in the main field, and off they go.
Okay.
So the next day Walshy took care of Webster. Not much there. Paul Lim played good in his prelim.
Yeah.
A couple of days out of Hong Kong. They did a nice interview with him. I heard some people saying that they weren't kind to him. I thought they were very, very respectful to Paul. And
who wasn't kind to him?
Some of the announcers or
something.
Really? I don't know what to say. I'm not going to go ripping on the announcers, but nah.
You can't be kind to everybody.
Well, I don't know. if we had a dart tournament in America with American announcers and all the Brits would come over and our announcers knew something about darts, which they didn't the last time ESPN put something on. I mean, the last time ESPN put something on, they put on a guy that could barely find a bullseye on a dartboard, and then in order to have somebody with him who knew about darts, they had like Sid Waddell.
Oh, yeah.
Who had a British accent and was so confused that this guy that didn't know anything about darts was actually announcing a dart match. He didn't know what to do.
Right.
And he was very kind, but it was pretty obvious. I thought it was like low quality. The guys the Sky Sports has all know the game. So you take a exception to some of the things they say. Like I thought they're condescending to everybody who isn't British, but that's just me.
All right.
Yeah, Kim Hubricks lost to Scott Rand. Nobody likes that guy. So I came up with Scott Rand. Nobody likes this guy.
Why?
He's getting ripped. I don't know. He rubs people the wrong way.
Okay.
So I came up with a nickname for Scott Rand.
You guys have a lot in common then, I think.
Thanks. I came up with a nickname for Scott Rand. He can try it on, and if he wants to use it, he can have it no charge.
Which is?
Wanker Steam.
And okay. I'm at a loss. How did you come up with that one?
Well, it rhymes with anchor steam. You can take it for what it's worth. I'm not going to go any further than that. Offline, I will tell you what that means to a Brit. But
okay.
So that was kind of interesting. Vince Vandervoort played great, beat Stuart Kellert. Van Gerwen.
Then Paul Lim lost.
Yeah, Paul didn't play that bad. I mean, but when push comes to shove, it's like the guy who wins this tournament is going to be the guy that's just as good on his finishing as he is on his scoring, and that narrows it down considerably because a lot of these guys, including Van Gerwen, it seems to me that some of these guys spend 18 hours a day throwing at the 20 and then 15 minutes every night hitting a double. Right. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if it's ego. I think that part of the problem with the good young players like Van Gerwen, and this is why I don't think Van Gerwen's going to win, is that they're not used to playing tight matches. You look at a guy like Simon Whitlock, whose back is to the wall and, takes out a 152 to stay alive and then eventually survives a tough match with Dave Chisnell. You look at a guy like Whitlock, he moved to England a few years ago and has been playing that tour. And when you play these guys week in and week out,
tough matches.
You learn how to play. Your weaknesses are exposed every weekend, and if you don't work at them, you're going to get buried.
Yeah.
And even if you do work at them, things don't always work out. Not everybody has their A game every weekend, right?
True.
So I think Van Gerwen hasn't really been tested yet. He's been pushed a little bit here and there, but he's never really had to worry. And I'm not sure he even worried much today. But he's going to start worrying now. He's got Adrian Lewis coming up, and that'll make you worry. Well, the guy's won this twice. He's never lost. He's won 15 straight matches, and he has absolutely no fear of Van Gerwen.
Right.
And it's kind of funny that the top players are dissing Van Gerwen left and right.
Okay.
Taking little digs and stuff like Peter Wright. Peter Wright, had he finished better, might have beaten Van Gerwen. I mean, when push came to shove, he couldn't close the deal. He didn't take advantage of the opportunities that Van Gerwen gave him when Van Gerwen would, score like a madman and then miss 6 darts at a double.
Right.
I mean, there's your chance. You can't finish, I can, and,
See you later.
Let's go. Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to get outscored and then you can't hit a double, you pack it in. So let's take a real quick break and we'll go back to the PDC. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve. Okay, you're back listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks to Windy City Fabricators.
See, I told you the iTunes worked.
It's nice when you plug in your headphones and stuff. Everything just works smoother.
Yeah.
Where'd we leave off? What are we talking about here?
Oh, we got done with Thursday's round, so you're into
Thursday.
You're into Friday with Andy Hamilton beating Richie Burnett 4-1.
Yeah, like a redheaded stepchild. And Richie Burnett's one of these veteran guys that, they play well enough to be competitive, but you never think they're going to win.
Yeah.
It doesn't look to me like some of these guys are accustomed to the pressure like you would expect. And there's a lot of talk about how guys are good floor players, but they're not good stage players. I don't know what to make of that, but
how would you overcome something like that if that was the case?
Get on stage more often. And
get used to it.
Work through it.
Yeah.
How else do you got to work through this stuff. I mean, I don't think they have stage fright. I think there's just something about, it's a lonely feeling when you're on stage, and I've played on stage a bunch of times, not a stage like that, but, we have stages here.
Yeah.
They're just smaller. And, my record on stage is actually pretty good, but there's no worse feeling than being on stage and stinking.
Yeah.
In front of everybody.
Because people are watching.
There's nowhere to hide,
yeah.
and it's just like and that's something that can snowball on you,
right?
If you're not careful, and you look at some of these guys, they play bad. They're confident the next one will go in. I don't know how many. I bet you I've seen 50 rounds where a guy threw a fat one with some dart that was like totally nowhere near the trip, and then trip 20, trip 20.
Right.
I mean, it's just forget it and move on. So Painter was doing that a lot today. Painter was missing. When he missed,
it was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't close. A lot of these guys like James Wade, every miss was on the wire, and I'm thinking he's going to be tough. He's another guy that really I'm not sure has been tested yet in this tournament, but tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's going to be the best day of darts, I think. If I originally thought they were going to play all 4 of the top 8 matches tomorrow, but they're just going to play 2. They're going to play 2 tomorrow and 2 Saturday.
Okay.
So the next 2 days are going to be fantastic, and also
all the way through. It should be.
Well, yeah. What was it? 7 of the top 8 seeds got through,
right?
And the one that didn't was Gary Anderson, and he lost to Barney, who's like, 5-time world champion, has won this thing twice, and should, I don't know how he's ranked 13th. He must have, he took some time off and had some issues, I think, something like that. Anyway, so where were we?
So now you're at Dave Chisnell beating Daryl Gurney.
Yeah, another redheaded stepchild. But Daryl Gurney actually played very well. Chizzy was tested, so it's a little 4-1. Maybe looks like a blowout, but it was actually, some of these things where you play well enough to get into the 5th leg and then things go south on you. Like Vince Vandervoort today. His average was considerably higher than the guy that beat him, and the score's not that close because Vandervoort would play really good up to the point where he could win and then literally try to throw him off the board. Oh, poor darts at the wrong time, and he's a goner.
Yeah.
I like the way he played, though. I really thought he would do better today than he did.
Gary Anderson beat John Bowles 4-3, which we
talked
about a little bit.
That. I was so impressed with John Bowles. I hope we get to see more of him. I wish he would come to the States. Maybe come to like Virginia Beach or come to Vegas or come to one of our tournaments.
Yeah.
I think he looks like a down to earth guy. He looks like a guy you could sit down and
have a beverage
drink with and talk some darts. I think he'd be good. Maybe we'll try to get him on the show. Terry Jenkins and John Part. It was about the best I've seen Terry play. In this event, in the PDC, it's the best I've seen Terry play. John didn't play bad, and Terry crushed him. Terry just absolutely crushed him with a complete game. No messing around on the finishes. La-di-da-di-da. If the guy's on like a 3-digit out and he doesn't take it out, he leaves himself on a double. I mean, really solid all the way through. And John was a little off his game by the time the match was over, but it was one of those things where...
Is he thinking about a statue?
What? Thinking about a statue?
Yeah. Wasn't there a whole deal with the statue?
Who?
Or banner?
Oh, the banner, the mural.
The banner.
Oh, right. Well, they put it up.
Okay.
And then he lost.
Then he lost?
So I posted, I think he was jinxed by a mural. But, yeah, they put it up.
Right.
And they actually added him to, the opening credits thing. So they took care of him.
Right. And then he didn't play. Well, he got beat.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily play
He'd have
poorly.
been better off with the thing off of there because maybe it would have motivated him more. So you didn't see the best of John Part in that match, but, fair play to Terry. Terry played about as well as he could. And that was a fun match to watch. Nicholson and Thornton went all the way down to a decider, and I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I was kind of kidding around with somebody because, I've played some of these guys, and I've actually played the both of them. And Thornton did better against me, so I was kind of kidding around that Thornton must be favored.
Of course.
Right? So,
right.
But that match, God, I'm kind of going. I've seen so many darts between now and then. Went all the way down. It was another one where, you get down to the kind of match we always play in the States. A lot of these, ADO tournaments, you just play best of three. These guys played for 2 hours until they got down to best of three.
Yeah.
Right? They go to a deciding leg. Thornton won the diddle, and Nicholson was never close. And it's like you're going to play 5 sets plus an extra 6 legs. It depends how you count it, but because it ended up to be 5-5, usually you only have to win 3 legs. So you're going to play 5 sets plus an extra 5 or 6 legs or whatever, and then go diddle.
Right.
Right? And then play 1 leg, which I've seen this championship decided that way.
Yeah.
After 7, 6-6. So after 12 sets and 10 legs, they're going to diddle.
For 1 leg.
For 1 leg. Taylor beat Painter 1 year, and then a couple years later, Barney beat Taylor.
Yeah.
Through a 13-darter with the throw. And Taylor still had a whack at something. I think he had a whack at 148 for a 12-darter to win. And that's the other thing that people can look for in this top 8. I've been watching this PDC event now for years. And it seems to me that in order to win, you have to be under 170 after 9 darts in the vast majority of your legs.
Okay, right.
When Taylor was winning...
Yeah, otherwise you're counting on a guy to miss a double probably.
Well, you may not even see one.
Right.
Because you're only going to go first half the time. So when Taylor was winning and Taylor was crushing people, after 9 darts he was always under 170. I mean, 8 legs out of 10, 7 legs out of 10. Then you throw a ton 40 and you're sitting on, whatever, and 13, 14 darters and just an endless stream of them. Van Gerwen's been scoring well enough for that. And Barneveld has been scoring well enough for that. Nobody else seems to really be getting pushed. The guys that you think of as the top scorers the last couple of years have been Adrian Lewis and Gary Anderson. Well, Anderson's out because Barney took care of him. Mm-hmm. And Adrian Lewis has not exhibited the consistent scoring that he exhibited last year, with the exception of the beginning of the semi against Wade. And I don't know that you can just turn that on. So that's the one thing I think can save Van Gerwen. Somebody was kind of asking, hey, who do you think is going to win? And I'm like, well,
right.
If Adrian Lewis can neutralize Van Gerwen's scoring, which he's certainly capable of doing, he's scored that well in the past, he's a much better finisher. He's much better on his doubles. Van Gerwen looked lost on some of these. And it may just be that the kid has so much confidence now that when he misses, he's confused. He's like, why didn't that go in? He doesn't know. So he throws it again, and that doesn't go in. And he's got this look on his face like, Then he throws the same dart, and that doesn't go in either.
Right.
So I don't know mentally where this kid's at. It's going to be a fascinating that top 8 match between Adrian Lewis and Michael Van Gerwen. If that isn't one of the most highly rated dart matches that Sky Sports has ever had, I'll be shocked.
Right.
Because I think everybody wants to see these guys. You look at Taylor. Taylor's 52. Van Gerwen's 21. Adrian Lewis is, 26, 27, 28, whatever. He's a young guy.
Yeah.
This is the future.
Future of darts,
right.
These
guys, these young guys. Wes Newton. I don't know. I don't know what to make of Wes's game. We'll get to that. Thornton and Nicholson was one of those old guy, young guy kind of matches, and
went the distance
all the way down. And a lot of people give Nicholson a lot of guff, which he's got coming because he sort of asked for it. But I thought he showed a lot of class losing a match like that, because that was rough. And I think it was one of those things where after all that, okay, who's going to win the coin flip kind of. I think that was kind of the mentality they had there. So that was pretty cool. What do we got next?
You got Phil Taylor won 4-1 over Jerry Hendricks.
Yeah, Phil missed some doubles to lose that set, but he was never threatened at all.
So it shouldn't even been.
Nah, there was nothing to that.
So then you got Kevin Painter 4-3 over Ronnie Baxter.
Yeah, that was a fun one. The old guys, the old guard, guys that have been playing the PDC tour almost from the very beginning. I know Ronnie. I think Ronnie started. They both started in the BDO and came over pretty early. Good match, good tight match. Ronnie Baxter's one of these guys that I swear he could roll out of bed, pick up 3 darts, and throw back-to-back ton 80s. I just don't think he'd hit the double.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, the guy could score in his sleep, and anybody like that, I guess, has a chance in an 0-1 game.
Sure.
If you can really, really outscore a guy, and this is maybe what this one guy's point was, if you can really outscore a guy and give yourself enough chances at doubles to make up for your...
Yeah, the chances of winning increase immensely.
Yeah, you would think.
For sure.
So that was I kind of enjoyed that one. I'm losing my place.
Colin Lloyd beat Mark Webster 4-2.
Yeah.
Not much to say on that one.
Well, we were kind of talking, when we were making our picks about how Webster really hasn't done much all year. And the round before, he played very, very well. And I really thought, it looked like he could sustain it, but, Colin Lloyd crushed him. 4-2, I would never thought it was in doubt. I thought Colin looked better from start to finish. Barney over Dolan.
4-1. Yeah.
No.
Could have been much to that match either.
The one guy this tournament that has consistently scored and finished is Barney. I think he's got the highest average for the tournament. I think if you average every single one of his games before today, he was averaging like 99.7 or something. So he's right there at 100, which is where you want to be.
Then Wes Newton beat Scott Rand 4-0.
Yeah, I really thought that Scott Rand kind of lost it. He was in there competing, but it looked to me like he was more concerned with the surroundings and more concerned with other things than he was actually,
playing the game,
getting on with it.
Right.
As I like to say. Yeah. That's where that whole Wankerstein thing came from.
Okay.
So you people that want to torture Scott Rand, there's some ammo for you.
Simon Whitlock won 4-0 over Colin Osborne as well.
Yeah, not a surprise to me. That was a foregone conclusion. I really think Whitlock is one of the class. Yeah, one of the class guys.
Also a foregone conclusion.
Well, yeah, I kind of felt sorry for Dennis. I mean, Dennis is one of these guys that we may not see much. He's not going to as many tournaments as he used to, and the further you drop down in the rankings, the harder it is to get back up.
Yeah.
Because they were saying this on TV, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, if you're a 32 seed, you see the 1 seed in the round of 32
all the time. Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's got to be painful.
Yeah.
Right? So these guys that Dennis was a top 10 player for years, and now that he's dropping down, he's going to have to work to get his way back up. And he's kind of like Ronnie Baxter. I don't know if these guys are really going to put as much time into it as the up-and-comers have been doing. They've been doing it a certain way for a long time. They've got, kids. They've got businesses. I don't want to say they're not professionals, but I think some of them are part-time players at this point. And I think Dennis also has been getting over some health issues. So... But I remember when I first started playing, I thought Dennis had the best stroke on the tour. Just gorgeous to watch. And he should look at tape of himself from like 8-9 years ago and see if
try
he's
and go back
changed
to
anything.
that. Yeah,
because I think visually to me it looks like he looks a lot different than he used to. So I don't know if he'd agree with me on that or not.
So then you got my guy Justin Pipe losing to Mark Walsh. 4-2.
Yeah, okay. And this was like, I almost had to nominate him myself for Jackwagon of the Year. So check this out. He's in the middle of a match.
You weren't allowed to do that, though?
Well, he's in the middle of a match, and it's 2-2, and his shaft breaks off into his barrel.
Okay.
All right. So now he's standing between the board and the Aki, trying to dig it out, and, getting nowhere, probably because he's using these, what I consider obsolete
shafts,
right? The old plastic ones, right? And these are not easy to dig out, especially when all you're using is the tip of your dart. So now there's a delay, and literally it's like the match is 2-2 in sets and 1-1 in legs. I mean, you're really at a crucial point in the match. So Eric Bristow is doing the commentary for Sky and really calling the guy like, you call yourself a professional and you don't have a backup set of darts? What's the matter with you?
So he only brought 3 darts with him.
Yeah.
That does sound crazy.
So, well, the weird thing was he borrowed one of Walsh's spare darts to finish the set out while somebody's backstage trying to fix his dart. He ends up winning the set with one of Walsh's darts, gets his darts back, and then can't perform anymore. And he had a sheepish grin, and the crowd was giving him a little guff. And the guy seems like he's got a good sense of humor. And he's like, yeah, I get it. And then he just gets on with it, and he hits what he's aiming at, and wins the leg, whatever. But I'm thinking, I thought there was a rule about changing your equipment, and why would the PDC allow you to
use somebody else's dart?
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand you want to get on with it, and I understand you can't go to a commercial for 10 minutes while this guy futzes around with his shaft.
Right.
But at some point, and Eric Bristow kind of alluded to that. They may change the rule, and I'm thinking, wow, who doesn't have a backup set of darts except me?
Well, except
I don't, but
you and Justin Pipe then.
Well, that's why I had to change my darts, is because if something happened, I had no backup.
Yeah.
Because the darts I was using, they stopped making, and I couldn't get another set. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to end up being like Justin Pipe. One day, the barrel cracks on the floor, and now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So
nominate yourself for jackwagon. That's what you'd have to do.
Well, he did not get nominated, but he came pretty close. But that was kind of an odd thing. And then when Stanley and Van de Voort, when Stanley throws a 9-darter out of nowhere. I mean, he's just playing cruddy, and all of a sudden, ton 80, 141 out on the 12, and he didn't. It wasn't like any ooh, I'm on a 9-darter, I'm going to go slow. It was like boom, 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 yeah, and still lost it. He's learning. I think when Stanley came from the BDO, where I'm convinced that the level of play is a lot weaker.
Right.
And
we've discussed that before too.
And I think he's one of these guys like John Bowles that's going to come away from this tournament saying, I can win this thing. I can do this. I think he'll, and he's been moving up in the rankings anyway. I think he's going to be a guy to watch next year as somebody who's going to be really moving up. And I like his game. I mean, he looked a little like he got a little mental there when things didn't go his way.
Yeah.
And he'll have to fix that. But I like the way he plays. Got a lot of moxie. I like that.
James Wade beat Steve Beaton 4-2.
Yeah. That was one of those matches where Wade is so hard for me to read. I mean, does he have another gear that he could summon at any time, or does he just lose focus for a couple of legs or for a couple of rounds and then get it back? But, push comes to shove, the guy hit whatever he needed to hit whenever he needed to hit it, and didn't look like he was, all that
worried.
Doubtful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like, I got this. No problem. And,
right.
I like the way Steve Beaton plays. I mean, we talked about him on a show a couple of months ago, how he had a nice, direct way of throwing the dart, and very simple, and he just had, every now and then, he throws these loose darts that miss by 1.5 inches, kind of like Kevin Painter does. And
right.
He's got to figure out how not to do that. But it was a good match. It was a close match too. I mean, it's 3-2 and you drop a leg and now you're done. So instead of it being 3-3, so it's like really 4-2 is only one leg.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean when I say it's closer than that. Van Gerwen and Peter Wright, same deal. Peter Wright plays well enough to take the set, take the leg, and then
can't finish.
Nobody's home.
Right.
Yeah. He's knocking on tops, nobody's home. Knocking on double 10, nobody's home. And it's like at some point you just throw up your hands like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I've come this far. I'm on stage in front of millions of people, and I can't hit a double. Just shoot me now. You know what I mean? I felt bad for him, and
right.
I thought he had been playing really well. I don't think he was favored in this match, but I thought he predicted he would win. He even alluded to the fact that maybe Van Gerwen wouldn't get through the first round.
Oh, right.
So I don't know if he was trying to add pressure. We talked about that, if that was some sort of mind game or something. But I don't know what he's. It'd be nice to hear what he said to Van Gerwen after the match.
Yeah,
that'd be worth hearing.
Be a fly on the wall for that conversation.
Yeah, that'd be worth hearing.
Right.
Terry Jenkins didn't show up against Andy Hamilton, and
after he played so well against Part.
Yeah. And again, it's just so strange. You go from you're playing good one day and you're not playing good the next day.
Yeah.
What happened? Too much pasta? I don't know. you know what I mean?
We'll call it pasta.
And then Phil Taylor against Robert Thornton.
4-0.
I mean, Thornton's beaten him on TV and on stage in major tournaments this year and didn't even scare him.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't even. There was, he had a couple of opportunities, and there's something about playing a guy where your only chance is to take outs that are above 131. You're not going to win. You just, I mean, Nicholson beat Taylor once doing that. He took out like 5 outs above 130.
Yeah. It's not going to happen that often.
No.
Right.
No, it's not going to happen, and I don't think Taylor's worried about it happening. And there's only a few guys like Whitlock, Adrian Lewis. These are the guys I would look to do that, every other leg for, an hour or something when they get it going. And I know those guys practice their finishes like nonstop. That's all they do. So,
So then you got Wes Newton beating Mark Walsh 4-1.
Well, yeah, and if you look at the gap, they took like the Christmas break. I mean, have you ever seen a world championship that takes 4 days off in the middle of it?
No.
I mean, I don't know. And then they changed the schedule this year because it used to be you wouldn't play 3 times before Christmas, which Taylor did.
Oh, really?
Taylor played his third-round match before the Christmas break. They had 2 third-round matches, then the Christmas break. Now these guys are coming back after 6-7 days. And I don't know, they're all
Do they
talking
do this
about,
every year?
They always have the Christmas break, but they've changed kind of the structure of the matches. And I don't know. I don't think I would like it. I don't think I would like, and it's rough for the people who travel, but I don't think I would want to be in an event where I played and now I'm off for a week.
Yeah.
And then, what do you say to your family? Hey, I'd like to spend Christmas with you, but I really think I need to practice.
Right.
Come on,
I got
Dad.
a match coming up.
Come on, Dad. Plum pudding, Dad. So I don't know. I don't know how that works out. So I was talking to somebody today about it, and he's like, well, I think these guys look tired. And I'm like, really? Because I looked at these guys. I was tired. None of them looked as tired as me. So, I don't know. It may have an effect on some guys. Barneveld was talking about how much because he's going back and forth from Holland.
Right.
I don't know how long of a flight that is, but traveling wears you out.
Yeah, it does.
If you're not used to it. And some people handle it better than others. So, but anyway, after the Christmas break, where's Mark Walsh? Because at some point, it looked to me like he just gave up. And when he gave up, Newton took his foot off the gas and actually gave Walsh a chance to jump back in. And
he didn't take
every
it.
chance he says, no, thank you very much, but you go right ahead. And I'm pretty sure of all the players that played in this tournament, nobody's going to be more disappointed in not playing up to their standard than Walsh did against Wes Newton. Because I'm sure, and he was going good for a while. I just think, mentally he just cracked somewhere. And Wes did play well, but I know Mark's beaten him in the past, and I have to figure he was pretty disappointed by that. God.
Finally, a close match. Whitlock wins 4-3 over Chisnell.
Yeah, we talked about that. Whitlock is back to the wall, hits the 152, and Chizzy fell apart. Van de Voort.
He loses 4-0 to Wade.
Oh my gosh! If you saw this match, you would just be like, "You got to be kidding me," because he outscored him. He outscored him, and then he would get to a double to win the set and not even come close to hitting it, and then Wade would take out what was ever. And it happened. I think 3 of the 4 sets went to 5 legs, where Van de Voort had multiple darts to win, and he didn't just miss.
He wasn't even close.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, it was tremendously disappointing, I'm sure, for him.
You flipped our page somewhere.
Oh, great. Where were we? Whitlock.
There we go. So
that was Wade and Van de Voort.
Then Van Gerwen beat Colin Lloyd 4-1.
And these were all today's matches. Yeah, Van Gerwen, Colin battled. I have more admiration for Colin Lloyd today than I did, going into this tournament. I mean, you're playing a kid who's obviously on fire, and you You don't back down. You stand in there toe-to-toe. You slug it out. Same with Kevin Painter. I mean, these veteran players, have been through it. They've seen guys coming at them with a blizzard of triples. And they're like, wait it out, hang in there, battle, your turn will come. And obviously it didn't come for Lloyd, but, Painter evened it up at 2-2.
Oh, did he really before?
Yeah, and had a double to make it 3-3. Mm-hmm. And, I couldn't believe he missed a double. And that was all it took. Right? So that 4-2-3-3 thing, it'll be nice in the top 8 because now you got to win 5 sets instead of 4.
Right.
So they're lengthening the match, and I think that's going to make them more compelling. Barney against Gary Anderson, I'm
cakewalk.
Sure. Well, no, I'm sure top pros have had worse days on the doubles than Gary Anderson did today, but I've never seen it.
Right.
I mean, literally, to look as inept at a double, the guy must feel terrible. I mean, because I've seen him hit doubles, and everybody misses doubles. I mean, let's face it. I mean,
well, sure.
But we're talking about simple stuff. You're talking about 3 clear at 36. You're talking about, where you almost tripped the 18, and then you almost tripped the 9. Right. I mean, just like really bad darts on the doubles.
Darts that I would throw.
Well,
it's pretty much
I've
what
seen
you're
you play. You're better than that. But I mean, literally, just progressively worse and worse and worse and worse. And the mind game with the sets, where that 5th leg is worth so much.
Yeah.
Right? You've won 2 legs, and if you don't win the 3rd leg, it's all wasted. Like I played one of the top Americans once in sets and beat him in the 5th set, and then did the totals at the end, and he won way more legs than I did because he swept me in the sets he won, and the sets I won, we won 3-2, right?
Right.
And I don't know, there was right after that, it wasn't a PDC event, but the PDPA got rid of sets, which I like. I like playing sets.
Yeah.
I just think it adds more drama to the match.
Absolutely.
By putting that emphasis on that.
The 5th set.
Right. Like in tennis, that tie break, right?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
But even if you're like the 4th leg has emphasis as well because, one person has to win it to stay in it. One guy can close it out, move on to the next set, and then it just gets more compelling if you go to the 5th set. And I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just find it enjoyable. And if they did it all the time, maybe I would find it less so, and I would find the match play more refreshing because it's different. I mean, I don't know. But I like the sets. And
maybe if you played cricket more, you'd like that too.
No, I don't think so. That's the first I've thought about cricket in a long time.
Probably.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Anything
I can do.
Raining on my
take a break
cornflakes.
on that note?
Yeah, real quick. We'll go over the schedule. Talk about chalk. So instead of the 4 seed, the 5 seed Whitlock's going to play Barney, who's the 13th seed.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything is chalk, right? You got Taylor playing Andy Hamilton, which I find amusing because, Taylor used to practice with Adrian Lewis, stopped practicing with him, and Adrian Lewis won the World Championship. After that, he started practicing with Andy Hamilton. I don't think they practice together anymore, but I guess that means Andy's going to win?
Maybe. If you go by that theory.
But Taylor, I don't know what to expect from him because he's playing well enough to win, but he played so woefully in his 1st and 2nd round matches that I was just kind of like, is this guy like all there? Because it's nowhere near the kind of play that I've seen from him in the past. So, and he doesn't.
Well, maybe he'll step it up now.
Yeah, he doesn't sound as confident in his interviews as he usually does. Where, he wouldn't be. He's a polite guy on TV and everything. He doesn't say anything objectionable, but you just get the impression he's under no illusions that he will win and everybody else is playing for second. And you don't get that in his tone of voice anymore. And so it'll be interesting. Him against Andy Hamilton. And then on Saturday, Wes Newton against James Wade. Now, I've seen 2 different schedules where they had Wes Newton and James Wade playing 2nd and not 1st, but this is the latest off the PDC.
Is that our time or England?
That's English time. So it'd be 1:15 in Chicago.
Okay.
Wes Newton against James Wade, and this is the test. Wes has not been able to crack getting up into like the top 4 or 5 players, but he's been hanging around in the top 10 waiting to make his move, and this is it. This is his chance to join, the ziggurat. This is his chance to get on the top level with everybody else, and I'll bet you he just can't wait to play this match. I bet you he's bummed that he's got to wait till Saturday. And his nickname's the Warrior, and he does battle. He just throws from so far to the right, and his darts go in at such an odd angle that I have a feeling if he leaves himself double 16 too often, he's a goner. I have a feeling he needs to be on tops. Him against Wade, and then Adrian Lewis against Michael Van Gerwen. Stop the presses.
Right.
Take the phone off the hook.
Call your friends and neighbors.
Boil your tea in advance, and I don't know. Everybody thought the cracker today was going to be Anderson and Van Barneveld, and Anderson didn't really bring all of his darts with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's going to be the problem, and I guarantee you Van Gerwen can't wait to play this match. Lewis is kind of like, yeah, whatever, bring it on. But
sure.
I swear to God, there's nobody more motivated than Van Gerwen to play. And, you got to it's a great lineup because you could potentially have an all-Dutch final.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, they're talking about how they need to, get darts back more on TV in Holland or something. I don't know. They were saying something about it. That would do it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I would think
Wouldn't you think that would do it? Okay, let's take a break, and we'll get off the PDC and on to something else. You're listening to Dart Talk. We'll be right back. Okay, you're back with Mark and Steve for the, I lost count, third quarter, fourth quarter,
just because
like
we're wrapping up.
But we are brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, thanks Redwood Darts and Windy City Fabricators.
It's time.
It's time.
It is time for the.
We're gonna put off some of the. We're gonna put off the outstanding and Player of the Year awards to next week.
We'll be here.
We'll be here next Thursday for that. I still want to try to get some people who are not back from traveling on the air. So sorry if you were looking forward to that. However, we will do We will name the jackwagon.
Jackwagon of the year.
That we will do. And just to preface, what I was gonna do is have like a bracket.
Yeah, we had enough nominees.
We had
almost 19.
We had like 19 or 20
Right.
nominees, and people apparently have some axes to grind with some of our listeners. So we had to combine. We combined some of them.
Well,
And
there
what
can
did we
only
do?
be one winner.
Well, yes,
But you wanted to
There
discuss.
can only be one winner. It's true.
You wanted to discuss some of the entries anyway, even though they didn't win.
Well, I think some people deserve honorable mention.
Sure.
So let's see how we can, because we don't really want to name any names. However, okay, let me see. I got to do this. I got to make this like that, get rid of this, so I can do this, right? Because that's vitally important.
Yes.
Right? Okay,
It seems to
bear
be.
with us, everybody. Let's see. This should work.
All right.
All right, so let's say that you sign up for an event and you don't show up. Not once, but twice, but 3 times. What would that make you?
Why would you sign up for the event? Well, I would think that would make you a jackwagon.
You think?
I would think so. Signing up for 3 events?
You jackwagon!
Yeah, okay, so, fair warning to everybody. We're going to be counting this year. If you sign up for events and you're a no-show more than 3 times, then you're officially a jackwagon,
Right.
and we're probably going to move you up. But this year it's just honorable mention. I don't know. You want to cover that one?
No, not really.
Really? Okay. When the hosts of Dart Talk ask you to give us a soundbite,
Oh, that's
saying
right.
you're listening
I do,
to
okay.
Dart Talk, and
Yes.
you mess it up
Yeah.
live, what do you
It
think?
makes you a jackwagon.
You jackwagon!
Okay, and this is for tournament organizers, and this is important. When you're putting on an event that you think is going to be like a first-class event, and you're in a hotel that's isolated from the rest of the world unless you want to walk a half an hour, and you can't get a decent breakfast, then
You're a jackwagon.
You jackwagon!
please don't do that anymore. Some of these other things like scheduling and logistics and stuff, I'm going to leave that alone. But if you have a hotel and there are ashtrays on the balcony and you're going to tell people that they can't smoke on the balcony anymore, I mean, we have to do something about that.
Why would there be ashtrays on the balcony?
Because people smoke. You can't smoke in hotels
Right.
anymore, and now you can't smoke on the balcony. What's next? You can't smoke on the beach? I mean, at some point, you got to put a stop
What do you have to do?
this
Go
stuff.
like at least 20 feet away from the hotel on the outside in order to smoke?
I don't know, but I heard about this and I wasn't really happy. Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
All right, let's get to the
wait.
finalists.
Oh wait, these are still more honorable mention.
Oh.
Or is this the okay? This is now we're to top 8.
Yeah, we're at the finalists.
We're to top 8. So okay, when you have a dress code in your hometown, and
Which
there
is
are-
known to everybody.
which is known to everybody.
Yes.
And you have 104 players, and only 2 of them show up in inappropriate attire, namely like green or gray pants. And they both
What do you mean
look
only
at
2? You shouldn't
Well-
have anybody.
Well, yeah, but I mean, of all the PDC events I've ever seen, this is the first time I've seen a guy show up with like pants that the officials wouldn't let him wear.
Right.
And not only did it happen in my hometown, but it happened to 2 guys that I personally know. So, can you have a combined?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right, so
They
after
can-
he says this, say put an S on it.
You missed it again.
Oh man.
You jackwagon!
You jackwagons.
Read the flyer.
Right.
If there's a dress code, don't come up in purple platform shoes and then throw a hissy fit when
Right.
they say no. Those aren't good. Dress like a professional, throw like a professional. Enough's enough. Let's go. Start playing darts for real.
Right.
I've had it with this stuff. And, if it's an ADO tournament and everybody's wearing, flip-flops and cutoffs, then go ahead and wear them. I don't care.
Right. But not when they got
But
it.
if you're going to have a dress code, enforce the
Yes.
thing.
Well, which is
and
what they
enforce
did.
it equally to everybody. So, yeah, fair play to them. They did. And there was like a local guy that, was on the, kind of tournament thing, and he didn't give him a break, which is good. And then, the Canadian woman out there who shows up in the gym shoes with the purple stripes,
right?
Better get a black marker, or we're going to mention that again.
Right, or you'll make the list.
Okay, so that was one of the top 8s. Another top 8 has to go out to Arachnid.
Okay.
I really shouldn't be picking on Arachnid because it isn't really the policy that I've heard. And again, I spent 20 minutes on their website and couldn't find anything about players getting banned, or you're not allowed to play if you do this, or you're not allowed to play if you do that. So apparently, it's not public knowledge. And they probably don't want it to be public knowledge because, they could easily be sued for restraint of trade. But the idea somehow that if you're a dart player, but you happen to work for a different dart company, that you can't play in your tournament is, to my mind,
stupid.
Well, it's completely asinine on a number of levels. It's like, and this is my latest issue with Soft Tip, is it's like it's run by the mob. Because to be honest with you, if you're a dart player, then they should respect the fact that you're a player. And
Exactly.
if you happen to work for another company, did you try to hire them? Did you offer them more money to come and work for you? Right? When you go to any professional convention, if you go to like the accountants convention and you got guys from Ernst & Young and, well, Anderson ain't there anymore, but
right.
Deloitte and Touche, do they not sit next to each other because they're with different firms?
Right.
I mean, what business is like this? I mean,
this one.
And my beef with this is that it hurts the sport overall.
Yes.
Right? And so you don't wear the guy's patch. Everybody knows you're there anyway. I mean, and this goes back years and years and years and years, like Lane Helgeson and Paul Lim getting banned by Arachnid. So I blame Arachnid for starting this stuff. And there's no reason to do it. I mean, what's going to happen if Paul Lim shows up and wins? What's going to happen? Is Arachnid going to go out of business because Paul Lim won their tournament when they state that they're not in the business of tournaments anyway? All that tournament is they're using players for free testing on machines they're shipping out after the tournament. And the players are playing for the privilege of testing their machines for free. So they're already ahead. Who do they care who wins? So it's stupid. And then, you're banning my guy, I'm going to ban your guy, and pretty sure everybody's and it's just like, enough's enough.
Well, that's how you become.
That is how you get the label.
You jackwagon?
Right.
So, Arachnid, bunch of jackwagons. How are we going to do this one? Okay. When one person says it, you can ignore it. When two persons say it, you kind of shake your head. When three people, mind you, say it, then you have to pay attention. But literally, if the same couple is nominated for 1, 2, 3, 4 different things, then we have to mention them. Wouldn't you say?
I would say so.
So why don't we just say that a couple was nominated and not go into the details?
And
why don't
be
we
done with that?
So, okay, to the happy couple to which we refer,
You jackwagon?
there's one for you. So, okay, this is the last of the top 4s. Now, let me see.
This is the last of the top 8.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. Maybe I should leave this out. Well, because there's a principle involved here that I'm not really sure. You're familiar with the term plagiarizing.
I am.
Right? If you just decide to slap your name on something that wasn't made for you, you're plagiarizing, right? It's like I wrote a paper and you stuck your name on it and handed it into the professor, right? That's plagiarizing. So if somebody makes something and you stick your name on it as if it was made for you, then you're plagiarizing, right? So what does that make you?
That would make you a jackwagon.
You jackwagon?
Okay, so there's that. Now,
all right, here we go.
Now,
top 4.
Now we have to make a decision. Okay,
yes.
So here are the top 4 nominees for Jackwagon of the Year. We have an individual who basically was nominated for 2 separate things. One of them was getting into a jawing match and a physical confrontation with a player, which of course we frown on.
Of course.
It's unprofessional conduct and does nothing but denigrate the sport that we love. The other thing is not surrendering the traveling trophy the year after you win it.
Right.
But not only that, hanging on to it another year. And then after that, saying no,
I'm not
going
giving
to
it
keep
back.
it, and I don't like the way you're running your tournament, and because it was held in a different month, and I don't think that there were enough guys there, so I'm going to keep the trophy for myself.
A traveling trophy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that qualifies as
You jackwagon?
right. So we made that top 4,
Right.
joint third.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Let's pretend it's double elimination and give that one 4th.
Right.
Now, okay, I showed you the letter.
Yes.
Okay. If you're going to be an organization that is intent on doing whatever it is you're intent on doing, and you have an agenda, I have no problem with that. If you're going to absolutely lie about what your agenda is and deliberately misinform the public on the assumption that they cannot read,
Right.
then I was right about you all along. Kind of what I'm thinking.
Sure.
So I dug up a letter that you can find online. It's an open letter from the National Dart Association to everybody, explaining in no detail whatsoever why they do the things they do without actually telling you why they do the things they do, and leaving out, facts and just making up a bunch of BS and not mentioning things like, oh, well, yeah, and it's also, we want $250,000
Right.
and stuff like that. So just the thought that they would put that in print and put it out there, I found intellectually insulting, and there's only one response to that.
You jackwagon?
So, yeah, NDA, I don't like you. Now, this was tough because I thought all along that this knucklehead was a lock. He was like a 1-5 favorite for
this award.
jackwagon.
Right.
There was no one in sight that did anything as remotely jackwagon-ish
Who's this
as
guy?
Dino the Dork, who went to court to steal the name of a dart league, according to some reports, because they wouldn't put his middle initial in.
Right.
Right? And just like, one of these jailhouse lawyer types who,
That was a long
craves
time ago.
attention. And, well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, nobody...
I remember that
I
story.
mean, of all the jackwagon stuff to do,
Yeah.
to actually make a amateur dart league, which is a non-profit, just get everybody together and let's play some darts organization, and dragging them into federal court,
Right.
right? And then getting your butt kicked by somebody who actually is a lawyer, and having everything you say thrown out, and having them shut your website down, and turning everything around in 20 minutes makes you like, you would think, make
You
you.
thought it was a
You
shoe-in.
jackwagon?
You would think it would make him jackwagon of the year,
Right.
and yet he failed to even win that.
And
So
why?
A bad year for Dino the Dork. Well, he failed to win because of, let me just, introduce it like this.
There you go.
The idea somehow that you're a dart organization, and according to your bylaws, what you're about is promoting the sport of darts and improving it at every level, in every place, in every way, is a laudable objective for an organization. To fob yourself off to the public as being the be-all and end-all of all things darts, and to be the angels of the sport and the keepers of its traditions, and the idea that they're holy, holier than thou. And yet, we reserve the right to ban any players we want, but especially those from the PDC and anybody associated with the PDC and anybody whose children might watch the PDC on TV and all of this. And, oh, by the way, we're also going to ban you from this, that, and the other thing there has to be a way to put a stop to this. Now, this has been going on, this ridiculous feud, Hatfields and McCoys,
Between the
PDC and
Right.
the BDO, and I looked up some of the history, and I understand that there's a lot of hard feelings, and people take this stuff personally, and I'm not going to denigrate that at all. But the fact remains that you have to put a stop to this, because this is discrimination.
Yes.
And I'm not for that. Not only that, it impinges on your right as an American to play in open events.
Correct.
If you want to have a closed event and call it the Backwards Dart Association Open,
Yeah.
where only the
It's an
people we want
invitational.
to,
Right.
then your tournament's an invitational, and
Yeah.
have at it. My beef, though, is that the ADO is associated with the BDO because there's an organization called the World Darts Federation that officially recognizes what entity is in charge of darts in their country, which was invented by the BDO so they could say, we're in charge of darts in our country, even though all the best players go to the PDC, play on TV, and make way more money, and we're more and more irrelevant every year. And now we're, our founder left the board, although he's still like in charge of the WDF, so he can be a figurehead. We're on our third chairman, and we're going backwards. So we're not running in place, we're running backwards. And we're getting smaller and smaller, more and more irrelevant. But because we were banning players before and we didn't like the way we were banning them, now we're going to be more specific about how we ban them. Okay? Sure. And the effect that it has on American darts, which is, what I mostly care about. I mean, hey, you're in England, eat tea and crumpets, whatever. Sausage roll, whatever. Be British. Yeah. Enjoy being British. You're British. You better enjoy it. But for American darts, the idea that this organization can just suddenly snap their fingers and say, we reserve the right to ban you, but not you, and ban you and not you, that should not be stood for by any American dart player. So I am of the opinion now that what we need to do is pressure the ADO to disassociate themselves, not disband, but just disassociate themselves with the BDO. Right. The ADO runs qualifying tournaments for a BDO tournament. That's the Perfect Attendance Open. Yes. Where if you're a league player and you show up every week, you get in. But then other people have to beat half the players in the country and then fly overseas to play on an ice rink. Although, guess it wasn't an ice rink this year. But the idea somehow that this is something to aspire to is completely now lost on me. Okay? So this organization, any organization has the right to do what they want, but we as Americans have the right to tell that organization to take a flying leap, and we don't want anything to do with you. That's what we did with the Ku Klux Klan. They got to march in Skokie, right? Sure. But, they're still the Ku Klux Klan, and we don't do business with them. We don't associate with them because they're undesirables. Correct. Okay? Yes. This has nothing to do now between the BDO and the PDC and whatever feud they've been having. This is now you reserving the right to discriminate in any way that you see fit. And I don't see why our organization should support that, especially if you look through their documents. I spent an hour on their website. Not only did I find the BDO in violation of their own bylaws, but I still couldn't find the name of anybody on their board. Okay. So now it's an organization that is run by a secret cabal that doesn't want to be bothered. Yeah. So, okay, media inquiries go here. These things go here. I posted something on their Facebook page. It got deleted. Of course it did. So I don't understand because, if you look, their logo, I didn't mess up their logo. No. See, think small, BDO darts, then think smaller, and you'll be almost there. That's what their goal is. Their goal is to shrink the sport where only their friends can play, and they should, play it in the backyard and, have a pig roast. Yeah. Right? Give away potato chips and free prizes and have a raffle and have a, blueberry queen or, whatever. Whatever you want. Have a good time. Just don't call it big time darts. Yeah. Call it whatever. Call it the British Invitational Organization or something. Just be done with it. Stop if that's what you want to do. But you can't do it both ways. You cannot say that you're some great organization fostering the sport of darts except for the people that are in this organization that are the best players in the world that don't count. Yeah. Name any sport that's done this. Indy had this thing with kart and Indy cars. Remember there was that split after the Indy 500? Yes, right. And eventually they had to come together because they killed the sport. Right. These guys, it's like, let's see how long we can prolong this death, right? So let's pinprick a couple of arteries and watch our own organization bleed to death. And it's been going on now for 15 years. Yeah. And, why don't these people put a stop to it? And now it's probably to the point where it's like the next generation. It's like the Hatfields and McCoys. The next generation is like, well, we hate them too. Yeah, there's people in America. Well, we hate the PDC. You live in America. What do you care what they do? Right. The BDO used to do this 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I used a typewriter. I'm not mad at Apple for inventing a PC. I mean, let's go. Let's move it up. I mean, we're at a place now where there's room to make darts a major sport. You've got channels left and right begging for content. Look at some of the stuff they have on TV. I mean, it's just like, hey, follow this guy around with a camera and throw on some credits and we'll sell some commercials and boom, it's on Bravo.
It's on, right.
I mean, give me a break. You're telling me that you can't make this stuff compelling? And this is what's in your way, are people like this? I'm sorry, but
which makes you
they are winners.
You jackwagon?
They are the jackwagons of the years, the British Darts Organization.
Yes.
And it's not even close. So Dino makes it to the final and gets crushed.
Right.
So that makes him a jackwagon and a loser. Right? So
is that worse than just being a jackwagon?
I hope so. And anyway, this is the picture I put on their website, and I don't understand their objection to it. I think it's accurate. You can't say it's darts for all when you're banning people. So right away they're lying to the entire world every time they're online with their website.
Yeah.
So what is that? You tell me.
Because it's not darts for all.
You're objective. I mean, what do you think? Am I wrong?
No, I can see why they took it off.
How do you defend? Well, why? Oh, I exposed your lie.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the NDA left their stupid letter up there that was just like a big lie to the world, but at least they left it up there
so everybody
like a politician. Well, this is our policy and this is what we stand for.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. You know what? Next time, just ask me and I'll tell you what you stand for. Then you don't have to waste the paper.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
Or all the little bytes that you had to use to create the little, you don't have to type or anything.
Right.
I mean, it'll be nice. So I don't know. I'm still mad about it. 10 days later, I'm still outraged that the ADO has any association with an organization like this.
Well,
the ADO doesn't do it themselves.
Now that they won the Jackwagon Award, that'll
right.
point some fingers to them.
Well, yeah. Now we can go to the ADO and say it's official. I mean, this organization is the Jackwagon.
You're affiliated with a Jackwagon.
How can you do business with an organization that was just named Jackwagon of the Year by a major media operation like us?
Right.
Right, with our IT department of 15 people and our staff and our 15 cameramen and all this.
Yeah.
How on earth can you see what I'm saying?
I agree. I think it's a selling point to get them to.
Hey, and let me tell you, if anybody listening to the show is involved with the BDO and you want to have a BDO board member come on the show, we'll get him in on Skype and we can discuss this like adults.
Right.
Anytime. Anytime they want to come on the show and plead their case and defend the fact that they violate their own bylaws, I'm happy to have them and let them have their say. Same with the NDA. If the NDA doesn't like being called a jackwagon, they can come on the show and explain to me why they lie on their own website to the entire world and just kind of shake their heads. Anytime these people want to come on the show and talk, you know where to find us. We're at darttalk@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at darttalk. We're on YouTube.
Yes,
we're on iTunes. We're on TuneIn.com. We're on Stitcher.com. I mean, we're not that hard to find. And we're on Facebook. You can always post something on the Facebook thing.
Yeah.
And we've had unflattering stuff up there, and I've left it up there. People can have their say. But I'm serious about this, and it's not going to go away because I am, so furious with the BDO. I just...
can't stand it.
Oh, I just want to throw a rock through their window or something.
Right.
Seriously. I mean, it's that petty and that juvenile. To be banning the top players and killing yourself in the process, killing your own organization, and then violating everything you say you stand for.
Right.
Now, the ADO doesn't do that. The ADO doesn't discriminate. It's an open event. You show up and you play. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they literally don't ban anyone, including people that are named after small cities who deserve it. Right?
Right.
They don't ban anyone. Everybody's welcome. Come play darts. We love the sport. There's not a lot of money involved, right? A lot of these tournaments, Now they're renaming the North American Championship Tour, and there's going to be news of that in the future. And I'd have run the ad if we had time, but I'm just going on and on and on here.
You could still run the ad.
Well,
it only takes a couple minutes.
Okay, why don't we run the? Well, it's not even that long. Let's run the ad real quick, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve.
Hey everybody, Colin Cosell here for the new World Darts Series. Now, if you were with us in Dayton, then you already know what an amazing experience we had. Incredible matches, stiff competition, and some of the best darts in North America. However, if you weren't there, then you have every right to be jealous. But don't worry, the new World Darts Series is coming back, April 5th through 7th at the Tuscany Suites and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. This means you've got some time to sharpen your skills and prepare to face off against some of the best shops in North America. And with over $31,000 to be won, not to mention a brand new car, not to mention the fact that it's frickin' Vegas, don't waste any time. Space is limited, so register and make your travel plans right now. I'll be back with updates as the event draws near, but until then, I look forward to seeing you at the new World Darts Series second major event at the Tuscany Suites and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, April 5th through 7th. Get there.
Thank you, Corky Siegel. We're back with the fourth quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, thanks Windy City Fabricators. All
right. Well,
now I'm
good.
Exhausted.
Yes.
Felt good to get that.
You're more exhausted than you were
chest.
to start the show?
Nah, not really. So we'll be back 7:30 next Thursday.
Yes.
We'll do our Player of the Year for the men and women, our Outstanding Player of the Year for the men and women. Hopefully, we'll get some interviews in. And we will also have a report of the final matches of the PDC World Championships.
Right. That'll be fun.
Which, can't wait. Can't wait till tomorrow. I will probably be live tweeting. So if you follow us on Twitter at Dart Talk, if you're not able to actually watch the matches, from what I hear,
you could give him some info.
Yeah, we got some pretty good feedback. You can actually follow the matches if you follow us on Twitter and you read all the tweets. You can pretty much follow what's going on. I've only done it for a couple of days, so I'm not an expert, but we got some nice compliments.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And I don't know. Open invitation. If anybody feels like I'm unfair to the BDO, they're welcome to come on the show and
state your case
and discuss it.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to discuss it. Same with the National Dork Association. I'll be happy to discuss it with them too. And I don't know what else can I say.
The Dork Association?
I just to be honest, nice. I mean it's just God, don't get me started. But yeah, I think the idea of getting the ADO to pull out of the WDF and disassociating themselves with the BDO, unless the BDO is going to change their rules like instantaneously, they're putting all the American players at risk, and there's no reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if the ADO is not willing to do that, then I'm going to have to seriously, consider what else to do, because if the ADO is going to support a discriminatory organization, I can't support the ADO. It's that simple.
Right.
That's not what Americans do.
I agree.
Right. Open tournament's an open tournament. You're a dart player. You take on all comers, and you score, you hit your double, and you go home a winner. Right? Isn't that that's all you got to do? Everything else is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Put in quarters, get your marks per round. I mean, whatever. There's an extra layer of complexity at some of these events. Okay, so you got anything? Let's wrap it up.
Other than everybody have a safe and happy New Year's Eve. Enjoy yourselves, but be careful.
Absolutely. Be safe, especially driving on New Year's Eve. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
We will see you next year.
Oh, very good. Yeah, we'll see everybody next year. Everybody take care.